Welcome back, everyone, to the Sunday Pulse. I kind of actually lost track of points. I tried to clear it for the round. So the actual standings right now, thank you to the production team, is Ben with 442, Kevin with 242. How are you guys liking the new format so far?
I think it's great. I love that the points are reflective of the actual knowledge on the set today. I think it carries over nicely.
I see, and it's hurting Kevin to just hear those words.
I think there's a serious conflict of interest when the judge of the point system is actually living with the other guy on this set. So obviously he wants to please the guy who owns the house.
You live with us too, man. We all live in the same house.
Yeah, he's sucking up to you because he's afraid he ends up in the street. This is not fair.
That is certainly not the case, Kev.
This is why I don't like the American court system.
Certainly not the case.
There is no such thing as unbiased.
Well, regardless of what that.
Here at the North American
Guys, we are done to spotlighting the news. Our news segment that we like to call Against the Odds is going to be a cool one. We're going to be speculating and taking up our math charts and fueling up the hype train. We look into the Greetorp crystal ball for this segment where we're predicting about what's going to happen in the upcoming events. The first event that we like to spotlight is Dreamhack. Coming up on April 26th, starting off in Stockholm, Dreamhack is back at it again. With players like Liquid Hero, Lenok, Grubby, 4GG, Stefano, Jaedong, and more. I am so excited to see how these players will do, especially players like Jaedong, his first premier tournament outside of Korea. For all information on this tournament, go to open.dreamhack.se. All right, Ben and Kev, how about, and Kev, you can get big points on this one, let's roll some dice. Let's predict how some players will finish based off of, their stature as well as their state in the metagame. Let's first start off with MC. Kevin, how do you think MC's chances are to get to the finals? 30 seconds.
As in, like, I would be the bookmaker?
Yes, if you're the odds maker, 30 seconds, how would you predict?
Do I want to make profit or not?
You want to make all the big bucks.
All right. Well, finals is quite likely. I mean, likely in a way that MC can always make it to the finals, but you cannot give it like 2 or 3 to 1 because it's just hard to make it to the finals of a tournament. There are only 2 spots. After all, out of those 96 guys, they're all going to be good players. Making it to the finals for MC, it's possible, not likely. I would say 5.5 to 1.
Okay, 5.5 to 1,
which would still make him one of the favorites for the tournament.
That's still a pretty good odds considering that anything can happen in an open like that. Yeah, I completely agree. Ben, do you have a response to that? 30 seconds.
Kev, I think that's incredibly generous. I would, however, not be jumping on that bet. Not a chance. MC will not make it to the finals of Dreamhack. His chances are practically 0. After seeing his play at MLG, I was like, hey, MC is always a dangerous threat in a tournament setting. However, I've got to say that his builds didn't do much for me, and I'm not that convinced with the longevity of his playstyle. MC is like a 25 to 1 underdog to make it to the finals, bro. It's not going to happen.
What?
May I?
Okay, yeah. You have a one-time rebuttal, Kev. You want to use it now? I
want to use it right now, which shows that Ben has absolutely no clue about odds making and anything in that regard. Because basically what he's saying, 25 to 1. That means if there are, like, let's say, like even 15 other guys who are about as good as MC, that at least 1, maybe even 2 of them are going to make it to the finals. So if you give MC 25 to 1, you can basically just bet on 15 other players, and you're still going to make profit because the payout is so extremely high. Basically, if Ben would be a bookmaker, he'd be broke by the end of the month. / week.
Kind of describes Ben in the middle of last year as well. Guys, let's also talk about another player that people have eyes on. It is Jaedong. Again, I kind of mentioned him earlier. People are expecting him to do very well considering he used to be a legend in Brood War. But how do you predict Jaedong will get? Will he even be able to get to the top 4? Ben, 30 seconds.
For starters, Kev, I'm very impressed with your degenerative gambling knowledge. Thank you for being so informative to the crew here on the set. Jaedong will be a great player in StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm. I do not think it's going to be happening by the time Dreamhack Valencia rolls around. Will he make it to the top 4? I still think it's a stretch. And believe it or not, I do believe Dreamhack is one of the tournaments where we will see foreigners being the more dominant representatives in the top 8.
That's a good point, Ben. I did dock you some points, though, because you said Dreamhack Valencia. It's Dreamhack Stockholm.
Forgive me.
Is the tournament that we're going to be watching.
Forgive me. I read Valencia on the screen there.
We can't talk about EG players without mentioning Team Liquid in the same breath. Lots of people always hype the Liquid Zergs. There's going to be 4 in representation at Dreamhack. There's going to be Snoot, Rhett, Zenio, and TLO. How do you predict their chances of making top 8? Any of them, all of them? You're the bookmaker. Kev, 30 seconds.
Well, 4 Zergs in the top 8 seems highly unlikely. So if I would be a bookmaker, I would give a very generous bet for that. Even 250 to 1 is something that I would probably take up on. Because come on, 4 guys making it into the top 8, that's almost close to impossible. But that one of them is going to make it is very, very, very likely. I definitely think that Zerg, Red, TLO and Snoot are very capable of making it. Zinio, I just haven't seen a lot from him that impressed me. But the first 3, I really think that at least one of them is going to make it. So one of those 4, I would say 2 to 1.
Oh, pretty good odds. 4
Yeah,
to 1.
I mean, I believe that one of them is going to make it.
All right, Ben, do you have anything to say?
I completely agree. I think it is a 100% certainty that at least one Team Liquid Zerg will make it into the top 8. Certainly with Snoot coming off that great performance in the UK, with Rhett playing some of the best StarCraft of his life. TLO is still showing great promise in groups. If he can maybe pull it together and win a couple of bracket matches, I think he could get there too. I think it's guaranteed that we see at least a Liquid Zerg in the top 8.
The good thing is Dreamhack Valencia has 3 group stages. So
That's great for TLO. TLO's going to win this tournament. If only we could have a group stage championship.
yeah.
That's actually really good news, and that's good news for Kevin's points. 500 points. Guys, let's also talk about one person that's kind of a curveball. I know you guys aren't normally used to talking about this player, but it's Flo. We don't have a lot of Terran players at Dreamhack, and nonetheless, we don't have a lot of female players. How do you predict Flo will do? Will she be able to get out of the group stages, any group stages, whether it be the first or the third? We'll start with Ben.
You kidding me?
No.
Flo getting out of groups is about as likely as a Liquid Zerg not making it into the top 8. Not going to happen. 0.
Well, that's all the information I guess we need, but no explanation, no backup means 10 points. Kevin, 30 seconds. I hope you have better evidence than Ben.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, as we said before, Dreamhack has 3 group stages. I think it's super likely that Flo will at least pass the first group stage. So he is a high Master League / almost Grandmaster League Terran player. He's really doing quite good. I've seen her beat some really good players as well. I think it's like a very, very, very likely she makes it through the first group stage. The second group stage is kind of like you get put together with a couple of other random Grandmaster League players and maybe 1 pro player. So you're going to need a little bit of luck with seeding. But I do think there's a realistic chance that she makes it to the second one as well. But the third group stage, then it gets really stacked. You basically end up with only pro gamers as well. And I think that's a little unlikely. But the first is very doable. Second depends on who she gets.
Dan, I'm going to exercise my rebuttal because I have had the luxury of casting Flo in a major tournament one time.
Wow, that's so long ago.
She played against In Control, and she got crushed so decisively that it was just laughably pathetic. If Jeff can 2-0 Flo, so can any of the randoms that show up to Dreamhack. Sorry, Flo, you're not going to make it out of groups.
Rebuttal. No.
I'm
going to allow this rebuttal.
This is like something that Ben does every now and then. He remembers a game of a certain player, in this case Flo, that he casted like 18 months ago, and he still thinks they are just as good as they were back then. It's like, come on, Ben. I actually think if Flo would play you right now in the best of 5 show match, you'd lose 0-3.
I would hope so. She's a full-time player, but she's not going to make it out of groups, and that's just all there is to it.
And she's a Terran, right? Isn't that Ben's excuse every time too? Regardless, we're done talking about Dreamhack for now, but before we close it out, I do want to give you guys an opportunity. I picked the people we wanted to talk about, and I know you guys love hyping players. They love hyping players, let me tell you. Who are you going to put your money on? If you have to make one bet of one person making a deep run or a big impact, who is your player to watch from Dreamhack? Anybody can go. You have the floor. Kevin.
Me first?
Yes.
Sage, man, Sage. And that's not because I'm Root and I want to root for Root. I've watched Sage's stream quite a bit lately, and man, I'm so impressed with his play. Everything he does, it looks so clean. Even on situations where I see him open, I was like, oh, Sage, what are you doing right now? There's no way you can ever deal with this timing. And then it doesn't even happen. It's like he prevents stuff from happening. It's amazing. I really think that Sage is going to do surprisingly well. People who watch his stream, unfortunately, not nearly enough people watch his stream, probably have a lot of faith as well. I think Sage is going to do really well. He will need some bracket luck. I expect at least top 8, maybe top 4.
Yeah, I remember so many times we're watching Sage's stream I was watching with Kevin, and it'd be like, this shouldn't work. This isn't going to work. It worked. Yeah. Okay. And then it's like next game. It's the same exact thing. Sage is actually a cool player. Definitely keep your eye on him. Ben, Who should we be hyped for?
I'm willing to jump on the Sage hype train, too. I believe everything you guys are saying about him. But since Kev's already spoken to it at some length, I'm going to go with one of the Liquid Zergs. I'm going to go with Rhett, who has been very consistent in Heart of the Swarm. I don't know. I don't know if he can turn it into a championship, but I do believe that Rhett is the caliber of player. He has shown it for over a decade that he is capable of making that deep run. I would love to see it happen at Dreamhack, and as a friend of Rhett's, nothing would make me happier than seeing him raise that trophy at the end of the week.
He has a Twitter account as well.
That's right. That's right. Twitter.com/LiquidRhett. You guys better follow Liquid Rhett. Follow Rhett.
I'll do that
Seriously.
right after this show is over.
Go follow Rhett.
We'll do it. Go do it right now as we get ready to close out Dreamhack. Once again, Dreamhack, April 26th to 27th at Stockholm. Open.dreamhack.se for all information. Now, Dreamhack is is a tournament that happens a month from now. Does anyone know what happens April 3rd? We kind of mentioned earlier. Okay. For bonus points, do you know what happens later this week?
The big announcement?
Through my notes, I have no idea what you could be referencing, though.
Oh, the start of GSL!
No, it's actually MLG finishing up the quarterfinals. I baited you with that question.
Isn't it? Doesn't it start the third?
It does return. It returns April 4th. I kind of just...
Yeah, but that's
I wrote the script, so I hate you guys.
No, but that's not fair, because that would be the third for us.
Oh.
Touché. Smart! How many points, son?
1,000 points.
10,000 points.
Oh, man. Guys, GSL begins April 4th.
I don't know what day it is, so I'm just going to put all the numbers together.
With Group A. The group is ridiculous. It consists of Final Wings of Liberty championing, Samsung Con Roro, KT Rolsters Crazy, Creator Prime, and the Eternal Enigma Startail Bomber. Let's give some odds on who do you think will advance. The top two from each group does. Let's start with Ben. 30 seconds.
This is the group to watch, guys. It's so hard to predict, man. I believe in Roro to come out in first, but to pick the guy that comes out second, man, Crazy is an incredibly talented Zerg player. Creator has a lot of history, and Bomber's been looking good, too. I'm going to say Roro first, Crazy second, two Zergs advancing into the round of 16.
All right. Well, that's not too bold of a prediction, although, I mean, everyone really wants to see Bomber do well at all times. So I'm really excited for that. Kev, or who do you think is going to predict?
Well, I think it's going to predict.
Who do you predict is going to advance in the next 30 seconds?
Not going to be super exciting here. I definitely think that Roro is going to pass, even though you could say that, hey, maybe he didn't practice as much Heart of the Swarm as all the other guys did, because, hey, he had that great run in Wings of Liberty, won the final tournament, so minimal amount of practice, but God, he looked so good in Wings. So I do think Roro is going to pass. Creator, I am really not sure what to expect from him. He's been playing HOTS for quite a while. I'm not sure how happy he is with the game right now. I want to say Bomber, but I was really disappointed with Bomber's games against MC during the last Dallas tournament, so I'm still going to go with Creator. I don't know enough about Crazy. So I'm going to say Creator and Roro. Man,
I just want to say, go watch some of Crazy's games from the Pro League, because he is so good. Not for the debate at all. Just go watch them.
The irony in Ben telling me to watch Pro League is very high.
I'm just saying, go watch Crazy play Pro League.
Okay, it is true.
He's good. He's fun. He plays an exciting style. He's almost as good as Hitman.
Almost.
I mean, he's on the same team. Hitman probably coaches him.
They trained him. Two Zergs band together.
I know.
That's right. Losira and ST, Hitman,
and Crazy.
Sounds good to me. 200
sense.
points, Ben. The last thing we want to talk about is a player that's really near and dear to all of our hearts. It's BeSoo with the new Pro League coming up, because we talked about GSL happening very soon. April 6th, Pro League begins, and everyone is eagerly anticipating how teams like EGTL and Woojin Stars will continue. But will BeSoo transition to StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm? Everyone's saying that BeSoo was training really hard and not playing in the previous rounds, because, well, you know, he didn't want to show his play. But now in the special Pro League matches, he's been playing very well. Guys, do you think BeSoo will break into the top discussion of Pro Tosses in Korea? What are the odds? What are the chances? Give me some hard numbers. We'll start with you, Kev.
I mean, with top pros, you're probably referring to guys like Parting, MC, Rain. As you guys know, I was a Warcraft 3 player, so I never really followed that like massive story around BeSoo back then. I've obviously heard about him, and I know that he was a fantastic Brood War player. But my favorite Warcraft 3 hero then always said, "Seeing is believing." That was a quote from the Farseer. As a guy who just came into StarCraft 2 and doesn't really have any Brood War experience other than meeting the guys a couple of bit, I have never seen anything that should super impress me from BeSoo in StarCraft 2. So I highly doubt that suddenly with Heart of the Swarm coming out, BeSoo is going to be fantastic. So I say no. It's pretty unlikely that he's going to make a lot of noise in the near future.
Pretty sure a lot of people, you and every atheist in the world is seeing is believing. Ben, you have the floor 30 seconds. How will BeSoo do in Hardest?
I've seen a lot from BeSoo that makes me into a believer. I'm going to tell you guys a story. Once upon a time, there was a player called Savior, and they called him Bonjour. They called him the greatest to ever play the game of Brood War. And then BeSoo came along, crushed him, changed the way PvZ was played in StarCraft I, and went on to become one of the greatest Protosses to ever play that game. He will be a top StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm player. Rumors have been floating around that maybe he's playing a lot of Terran, so I don't know if he'll ever switch, but I promise you, give him a year, he will be one of the top players in Korea.
Yeah, but it's already been a year. I'm going to give you an opportunity. It's almost coming up on a month later, and then it's going to be a one-year mark.
BeSoo was playing Wings of Liberty, where Protoss is forced into a style, and you can speak to this better than anybody as a Protoss player at a very high level, forced into a style that does not allow him to show off his incredible ability to multitask and to work very, very fast. In Artosis' most recent blog that he posted, he busted out a Noni quote, and Noni said, watching BeSoo's play is beautiful, but it becomes a true work of art if you can play as fast so that you understand what he's doing. Heart of the Swarm raises the skill ceiling of StarCraft II, and it will allow BeSoo's true skills to shine through.
Dale, I'll give you a last comment to wrap up this segment.
I mean, maybe, but I just don't have that same feeling about BeSoo right now. It's been a long time. I've heard all these rumors whenever he came over. Oh, it's going to be amazing. So far, we have seen absolutely nothing from him. So I find it so unlikely that in Heart of the Swarm, suddenly he's going to come out really, really big. In a year, Ben said like in a year. Yeah, maybe in a year, but come on, that's like 2 years. I thought we were going to talk about the upcoming months, like 3 to 6 months at best. Because a year is pretty far, and a lot of things can happen in a year.
That's true. A lot of things can happen in a year.
Will BeSoo enter top Protoss in Korea discussion in Heart of the Swarm? We got 2 years, bro. It's going to happen.
Okay.
Very well played, Ben. Another 200 points for you. And that actually concludes Against the Odds. We're halfway done through the show already. Let's do a point check, shall we? Ben coming in at almost 3,600 points. Kev barely trailing and made up a lot of ground at 3,370 points. Guys, I'm having lots of fun. You're watching the Sunday Post. When we come back, we're going to be taking a stand. Hashtag no filter, my favorite part of the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
How's the view back there, Kev? You like what you see?